Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I haven't filmed a video in quite a while and I'm really sorry about that. I've been having this problem where I get really fun ideas and then I try to shoot it and it's just not coming off on camera how I would like it to, or I film something forever and then it's like out of focus. I definitely think my skills are better off in photography than they are in video, but I wanted to show you guys this look that I've been rocking lately. I've been super into green eyeshadow. I think it's a really fun kind of staple look for the summertime. Yes, so if you guys would like to see how I got this look, then please just keep on watching. Also, to address the obvious, I dyed my hair yet again. I change my hair all the time, but I really wanted to go back to my natural color. This is a little bit darker than what my natural hair is, but it's going to fade out a little bit. I'm really trying to grow my hair out and I'm really tired of having roots with every hair color I get, so I think this one will be staying for a little while. And alright, now let's get into the tutorial. As always, I'm beginning by priming my lids with my Wet n Wild Photo Focus eye primer. You guys know how much I love this eye primer. I talk about it in almost every single video, so we don't really need to go over that again. And I just put a little pea-sized amount on my finger and I'm going to rub this onto my lids. Okay, so to make sure that everything blends out well, I'm going to be taking my Modern Renaissance palette and just setting the lid with the shade Tempera. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between a lot of different eyeshadow palettes and single shadows. If you guys have a palette that can create this look all in one, that'd be great. I, however, do not, so bear with me. This is just the perfect bone white color to set the lids without creating too much of a white cast. This is just going to help everything blend out easily so that no shadows stick to that eyeshadow primer. So for my transition shade today, I'm going to be going in again with my Modern Renaissance palette, and I am going to be taking the shade Warm Taupe, which is just this nice kind of cool brown shade, and I'm going to be applying that in the crease on my favorite Morphe blending brush, which is the Y16. Don't know how I don't know that by heart already. And I'm just going to be taking the shade from inner to outer corner to help just create a really nice blend on the crease. For me, I take my blending shades pretty high up because I do have hooded lids, but if you don't, you can take this shade much lower. So next, I'm going to be taking this ColourPop Super Shock shadow in the shade So Quiche. This is just a nice kind of green eyeshadow base that has purple reflex through it. I don't really care so much for the purple in this look, but I really want to go for that kind of green base. So I'm just going to be picking this up on my finger and applying this across the whole lid, but avoiding putting it through the crease. Don't worry if it looks kind of messy once you do apply it, because we are going to be blending it out with a brush, because I personally am not good about blending out eyeshadows with my fingers. Now to blend that out, I'm going to be picking up the tiniest bit of that shade we used earlier, which is Warm Taupe, and just lightly buffing this through the crease and helping blend out that ColourPop shadow we just placed down. I think it's kind of funny that that shade is called Warm Taupe because I don't really picture it as warm toned. But I guess depending on the eyeshadows you pair it with, it can bring out those warm tones. And as you can see, as I'm blending this out and a little bit up through the crease, it is taking away some of those purple reflex in that pigment, and leaving just more of that green base, which is what I'm looking for. To help bring out that green pigment a little bit more, I'm going to be taking my MAC shadow. This is an Extra Dimension eyeshadow, and this is, gosh, how weird can I hold my hand? This is an Extra Dimension eyeshadow in the shade Silver Sun, and it's just this really beautiful kind of emerald green shimmery shadow. And I am going to be picking that up on this Wet n Wild large flat shader brush. This is just really going to help pack on the pigment rather than using a fluffy brush. Then I'm just going to be patting this shadow on the lid. You want to use patting motions rather than blending motions because you really want this pigment to stick down. I like using that ColourPop eyeshadow as a base for my Extra Dimension Skin Finish shadow, just because I don't find that the MAC shadow has too much pigment on its own. So putting a color down before it that has the same undertone really helps that top shadow pop, I guess. As always, we want this look just to be super blended, so I'm going to take my blending brush once again and just kind of running through the crease and making sure that everything blends together. And since blending does take away some of lid pigment, I'm going to be going in back with that MAC shadow on that flat shader brush, and I'm just going to be focusing this pretty close just on the lid area so we don't have to worry about blending through the crease again. This is just going to help us grab some of that pigment again. Now to add a little bit more green to the look, I'm going to be taking this MAC Undercurrent Eye Pencil. It is a Pearl Glide Intense Eyeliner, and it's in the shade, oh, the shade was Undercurrent. And it's just a really beautiful glittery green liner. I used to have a MAC Pro card, so that's where I got most of like my colorful makeup like this. I used to have like 6 different versions of this pencil, all in really exciting shades, and this has just always been one of my favorites that I've kept around. So I'm going to be taking the shade and lightly lining the outer corners of my upper lash line, and then we're going to be blending it out. So I'm only going to be doing one eye at a time because these can dry out pretty quickly. And then I'm just going to be taking this Lexi 211 concealer brush. Not using it for concealer though. I am just going to be kind of running over that eyeliner and kind of diffusing the edges. You can also use a little pencil brush for this, but I find that since this one is tapered, it allows for a little bit more precision. So then it should look something a little bit like that. I like just lighting the outer corners of my eyes. I find that if I line my whole eye, my eyes are already super round, so it just creates this really kind of bulbous shape. So I find lining just the outer corners helps elongate the eyes. Now moving on to the lower lash line, I'm going to be dipping again into my Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to be taking the shade Primavera, which is just this really beautiful gold shade. Sorry, I'm like choking. And I'm going to be taking that on a pencil brush and running that underneath my lash line. For my lower lash line, I love using my Morphe Y22 brush. It's just kind of this like round, fluffy bullet shape. I find that using a fluffy brush underneath the lash line really helps diffuse the shade and really blend it out. I do like to take this shade from the inner to outer corner and just have the whole gold underneath the eye. I find that it helps bring light back into the look since I do kind of have a darker look going on the lid. Now for the finishing touches, I think it's super important to highlight the inner corner when working with a darker, bolder eye. So I'm going to be taking this MAC palette in the shade Green Luxe. It's just like their long, skinny palettes. I like hardly ever use MAC makeup. I think it's so funny that I have so much in this video. But I'm going to be taking this kind of gold shade, oh you can't even see, this gold shade right here. It's kind of like a more champagne gold, and I'm just picking that up on my pinky finger, and I am going to be applying this to my inner corners. Now for mascara, I'm going to be going in with my YSL Baby Doll Mascara. I talked in one video about how much I love this. I think it was my get ready with me and my friend Martha, but the more I've used it, the more I'm just like, it's a mascara. I've used better ones that are cheaper. The packaging on this is quite beautiful, and I love just like owning a YSL mascara, but I don't think I'll be repurchasing this once I finish it. But I'm just going to give a really good coat of this on my top and bottom lashes. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom you guys out and we're going to move on to the face. So now moving on to the face, I'm going to be using my favorite Milani contour and highlight stick. I love this contour a lot because you guys know I'm obviously insanely pale. So sometimes this works for me as a bronzer because it is just a really nice kind of taupey shade. So it's not too not too orange, and it's really good for contouring also. So I'm just going to be swiping this on my cheekbones. I do it a little bit higher, obviously, than my hollow, because I know when I blend it out, it's going to go a little bit further down, and I don't want it to go too low that it makes me look really sunken in a weird area. And I also put a little bit of this on my temples here, and then a little bit across the forehead, barely any there because I don't want it to be too noticeable. And then I usually do it on my jaw, but I guess I'm really bad at blending it because my boyfriend always finds areas where he's like, oh, you need a rub right there. So we're gonna skip that part today. And then to blend this out, I'm going in with my trusty e.l.f. stipple brush. It has no brush number or anything on it, but it's kind of like a smaller stipple brush, and I just go in. And then I'm going to be using the other side of this duo, which is a highlighter. This reminds me a lot of my Shimmering Skin Perfector by Becca in the shade Moonstone, but I think I like that one a little bit more. This one has a more gold undertone, where the other one had more of a white gold, but this is still really beautiful and is a lot more affordable. And I'm just going to use that same brush to blend it in. Then I'm going to add a little blush to my cheeks, and I want a really neutral color to not distract from the green. So I'm taking the shade Rosé Champagne by Wet n Wild. It's one of their color icon blushes. And I'm just going to be applying this to my cheekbones with a e.l.f. angled brush. I'm assuming that's what this is. I'm just going to lightly dust this on my cheeks and bring it back. Now to finish off this face with a little bit more highlighter, I'm going in with my Kevyn Aucoin Contour Duo Sculpt and Highlight travel size, and I'm just picking up the Celestial Powder on a Morphe R36 brush. I like using a brush like this with this type of highlighter because it is a little bit more subtle, so it kind of packs it on rather than a fan brush, which would lightly dust it. And I am just going to be applying this everywhere we put that cream highlight. And a little on my nose. This is my favorite spot to highlight. And now I forgot to put on lipstick, so I'm going in with a ColourPop Lippy Pencil. This is in Aquarius. This is my favorite lip liner of all time. I haven't used it in quite a bit, so we're going to go in with it today and just line and fill in our lips. So that's it for today's look. I really hope you guys enjoy it. I've been loving rocking this kind of emerald eye, really been into those kind of subtle, different colored eyeshadows. I think it's kind of fun to rock in the summertime. It's a little bit unexpected. So I hope you guys learned something cool, and I'll see you guys in my next video.